Spoilers!
Only spoilers! Oh my god!
Spoilers!
Superman comes back to life.
God damn it!
All right.
Do not bring fucking Justice League into the sacred space.
So sad.
Oh, man.
Ezra Miller, god damn it.
No, it's
not Ezra Miller.
we can agree on Justice League. Very,
Yeah.
very unfortunate.
But anyway, let's talk about the spoilers of Endgame. Where to fucking start?
All right.
Now we get free reign. Talk about whatever you want.
All right, let's
talk about that opening scene. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Jeremy,
You could feel the gravity of his situation when his family just dusts away, and he doesn't even know they're dusted.
Well,
he's just like, "Where are they?"
Jeremy
What the
Renner
fuck?
is such an underrated actor.
No, he's fucking excellent, and I don't think he's underrated because if you don't remember, I mean, he was hot shit when The Hurt Locker came out, and that wasn't even his best movie.
No, but like then he kind of putted around for a little while.
Well,
Like
yeah, now he's got Marvel money. He doesn't need to do anything.
I'm like, and then they tried to make him like the replacement for Bourne for a little while there, and that didn't really work out.
Sure, but no, the opening where because everyone was like, "Where's Hawkeye?" during Infinity War, and
He was
of
with
course
his
he's off
family who
enjoying his
fucking
time with his
died.
family. And then
he has one.
Yeah, and then like he turns around and all of them are dusted, and he doesn't know what's happened, so he just thinks they're gone. But you can see their ashes just drifting in the wind. And you're like, oh god,
and it just makes you realize like, oh
that
my
was
god,
children.
Like how many?
And a wife.
Like how horrifying does it have to be for everyone else that's happening to right now? And you realize like, oh my god.
Like,
Yeah.
what if you were already like some guy in the MCU and you have like terminal cancer and somebody's all like, "Honey, I'll be with you until you fight this thing."
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
How horrifying was that be?
No,
your doctor's doing surgery on you.
There's been a lot of I dropped more than my watch. There's been a lot of conversation about, like what would happen. Like there would be planes dropping out of the sky. There would be like caretakers who were taking care of people who were just gone. There are so many people who would die just as a consequence
of being 50%.
Of the dusting. And you're also talking about like, say there are families where there's one person who's the caregiver and the person those don't work. There's one person who's the caregiver who makes all the money and everything, and that person's suddenly gone. Like there's so many things that are a problem with that. And
silver lining, job market's open.
What's crazy about it? What's crazy about it is, of course, Captain Marvel pops out of nowhere, and that's how Tony Stark gets saved, because how else?
Yeah, really.
Well, because the way that it would work out is at the end of Captain Marvel with the whole Marvel signal.
Yeah.
Then they're like, "Hey, can you get our friend Tony in space? By the way, that'd be super cool."
I mean, the after
exactly.
that movie is her meeting the Avengers.
Yeah.
So presumably, hey, Tony's missing too.
Yeah,
Get him.
I remember, but or they're like, this whole group went to this planet, find them, because they don't know who's gone.
Yeah.
And it's clearly Captain Marvel just exists as a Deus Ex Machina for that.
And also to kind of like say like, hey, this is his character, this is what she can do.
Yeah.
Look forward to her next movie.
Sure.
There's a few like that.
But the big thing about it, the big thing about that is when she comes back. I really like the fact that she comes back and she says what was happening here was happening literally everywhere.
Yeah.
And more so than Guardians kind of brought up the idea that the Marvel universe is fucking massive.
Yeah.
And I really like that little point. But then you have all this stuff with Tony just being traumatized and like the group falling apart, and then them finding out, hey, we can get the Infinity Stones back and unsnap everyone. So they fly out to where there's been another blast of energy from the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, like Rocket figures out where Thanos is.
Yeah, so they figure out what Thanos is, and they go over there to try to
retirement home.
They go and they find him, and it was really funny because when Thanos was just, Thanos is literally just farming and picking fruit in the garden, and like, I thought it was hilarious because it's just Thanos in a t-shirt.
Yeah, that actually is like a callback to the comics. He actually did become a farmer for a while.
I just think it's really funny that you spent the whole of Infinity War seeing this horrifying monster of a person being super powerful and intense and overcoming everything. And now you basically get to see the equivalent of him, like, sitting on the couch with a beer watching the game. Like, he's just in a fucking t-shirt just chilling. And of course they bust in and they find out that he has destroyed the Infinity Stones to stop them. Yeah, he used the Infinity Stones to destroy them just to make sure that no one would be able to undo what he did, which was a huge twist because like all the theories I heard had to do with the Soul Stone,
right?
And using that to bring people back, or at least using the Time Stone to rewind stuff.
I did hear that time travel a little bit before.
So the idea of using
exactly right,
using the Time Stone to get that done, though, when he said that I've destroyed the stones, and then Thor chops his fucking head off.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
And I was waiting for the line too. It's like, what'd you do? I went for the head.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you've earned that. I'll give you that.
And that's the thing. Like that
nice
that wasn't even a joke. It was just this really grim line. Yeah. I love how they did that.
Oh, so on that note, can we talk about Thor?
In a minute. When we get to
we have to go through the whole movie.
When we get to Thor.
There's so many consequences. Yeah.
Does this not make like the Blade Runner review where it's like as long as the movie?
They absolutely, like, when that happened, I had no idea what was going to go on. And then they do the 5 years later card.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
Yeah, that surprised me. Yeah.
How? And from that point, I had no idea what the fuck was going to happen in the movie.
And then,
And I really love that feeling.
And
I love that feeling.
And also, like, and there's also, it's like, I kind of thought what was going to happen before me. It's like, I had a theory, like, the time travel stuff was going to happen. I heard those rumors before. I was like, all right, it's probably what's going to happen. What I thought they were going to do is I thought they were going to use the gauntlet to go back to right after the snap happened and just undo it immediately.
Yeah, like something like that.
I was not expecting them to keep the 5-year difference.
Yeah,
which also raises some weird questions about
they've already talked about that.
Have they?
Yeah, no, the directors actually addressed that. There have been a couple of interviews
for the Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, because there have been people who have asked, like, how did this happen?
Did everyone just get dusted?
The assumption is that the one character you see for sure was also dusted and came back.
Okay, so that also means basically everyone else that still looks the same age and in Homecoming is also dusted.
Basically, yeah.
Okay,
they're kind of playing it fast and loose with like, we're just gonna make sure that everyone who matters in our movies just. They're
fine.
They're still on the same page.
Because
it's fine.
50% of an entire universe, and in the big scheme of things, right?
Spider-Man just loses everyone.
I know, but like. And is that so unusual for Spider-Man?
No, that's the worst.
So to which I say, you know what? One school, its entire population, and anyone possibly related to Spider-Man possibly being fucked by Thanos. Yeah, that's not too unlikely if you account for 50% of the universe.
Yeah, and Spider-Man in general.
Spider-Man in general.
Spider-Man's life is no. Okay.
So it was really interesting to see. Like they have the support group. They have Black Widow just trying to keep in touch with other superheroes, and they're trying to address different things going on, and like
while also barely keeping it together.
Yeah, no, Black Widow is not doing well because
eating peanut butter
she's
sandwiches,
lost.
man.
Yeah,
she's lost pretty much everybody that she really gave a shit about. And you get to see that's another thing coming straight from Winter Soldier to this movie. The seeing her and Cap talk,
yeah, for sure,
was really good because that was my favorite part of that movie too. Seeing them bond,
they have great chemistry.
Yeah, and that's the best time I've ever seen ScarJo get on screen in this whole fucking universe.
Yeah.
So
she's not just the ass girl.
Yeah, right.
From the one poster.
There were a couple of shots in Winter Soldier where I was like, "Yep, there's the butt shot. Great."
You ever see the Hawkeye Initiative?
Yes.
I love the Hawkeye Initiative.
I've done a couple of those poses for friends. Just be like, "Hey, let's see if I can do this."
My ribs! They're poking into my lung.
But yeah, so that was really good. Them finding Hawkeye when he's started, like...
When he's Ronin.
Yeah, he's done his Ronin shit. And,
that was pretty awesome.
That was interesting, because...
it was a darker turn for the character.
Yeah. I kind of wish they'd shown more of it, but they...
Well, they do have the
movie's already way too long.
Yeah, there probably was more. I mean, they do have the Hawkeye TV show coming out. So
It's not going to be about that. That's way too dark for
I
kids.
know, but goddamn, that'd be cool if they did that though.
Can we just have a Netflix spinoff that's just Hawkeye doing that shit?
Netflix decided they don't give a shit about Marvel.
Just have Hawkeye be a bad person. No, Netflix didn't decide they don't give a shit about Marvel. Disney decided we're taking all our properties back.
Actually, not true.
Really?
Netflix. It was Netflix's decision.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, but they say.
Oh, I bet all of the follow-up seasons after the Defenders didn't do well, because the Defenders was really bad.
Well, except for Daredevil was the first one to get canceled, which is weird because it had the best season yet in season 3, which is
I didn't
weird.
see season 3
Season
yet.
3
is
was
really
great.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the follow-up seasons after that. Anyway,
Season 2's kind of but the third season is really good.
I've seen season 3 too.
But like, not
I haven't
only,
seen anything post-Defenders, is what I'm saying.
fair enough. But like, either way, even if you take the fact that if it was this idea, Netflix wouldn't force the 2-year legal embargo they've currently forced on them. So there's no way it was Disney's idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because Netflix. Hang on, I'm just spitballing here. Maybe it's because Netflix and Disney were like, "Hey, so we at Disney want to also have our content on Netflix, so that way people might be interested in Disney Plus, but we also need to charge you money because we also own the content." And then Netflix
it's
was like,
primo
"Fuck you."
content. I mean,
Maybe.
considering the plate of films that Netflix has right now, like they have Guardians 2, they have Infinity War, they have Civil War, they have a lot of really like high-end
Black Panther.
relatively
Black Panther.
relatively recent Marvel films on there, and it's kind of impressive. But anyway, let's see.
So
Okay, so
Ronan happens.
Ronan happens, that was cool.
And then Ant-Man came back.
Ant-Man comes back because of a mouse.
And God bless Paul Rudd, man. That guy does not get nearly.
Rudd is great.
Paul Rudd does
Paul Rudd
not
is
get
so
nearly enough
good.
credit. Like he's still like the comedic relief in this film, but the dramatic scenes that he has in this film are really goddamn good.
Oh, like he got
Clearly, you're not a Paul Rudd fan.
I like Paul Rudd. I haven't seen a lot of his movies.
That's clearly you're not a fan.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you've watched enough of Paul Rudd's movies, you would know that he's a great actor.
Hi, I'm the keymaster. You the gatekeeper? What the fuck is this shit?
No, I mean, but seriously, if you've taken the time to watch like a bunch of different, because Paul Rudd does a lot of indie movies too. Mm-hmm. He does a lot of movies that just don't get a lot of exposure.
No,
And-
like I was talking strictly to the MCU in this particular case.
Oh well, yeah, because Ant-Man, and people just hate on Ant-Man. And
I like Ant-Man.
Ant-Man was fine.
He's enjoyable. I like him.
Yeah.
I thought.
Also,
the best-
I love that it gave the Ant-Man movies a big reason for existing. Like, I know a lot of people's complaints are like,
Why is this here?
why is this even a thing?
Time
It's
travel van, bitch.
Central to the plot of Endgame, so
But I think-
suck on that.
I think the most successful thing that they did with Paul Rudd is after he gets out, he's like trying to figure out what happened. He sees the stones that vanished, and he's looking for his daughter's name. He knows he didn't disappear, right? But then he's like, "Wait, I disappeared? I mean, like, yeah, I did
And not his
disappear."
daughter.
And then he finds his daughter 5 years later, and it's just sort of like that.
There's that moment.
that relief,
Yeah.
that tension and that release.
No, I guess it's a
was
really
so
good performance.
It's a really beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And also
Thank
teases.
God he didn't kill his daughter, but his crew is probably dead.
No, this is an easy shorthand for him because now they can make Cassie a young Avenger now.
Technically, yeah. I mean, she has always had an interest in what he's doing. She's been the peppy young kid who's
Well,
like...
in the comics she is. This is clearly what they're trying to build for that.
Well, there you go. I'm down for that.
yeah, like-
she's good.
Plus, she has a giant pet ant, which
Oh yeah, is that still alive 5 years later?
I love that thing.
I have a
It's still
question.
playing the drums.
Also, there are more ants. So
50% of all life, right? Does that include bees? Because
It
wiping
includes
out.
everything.
I know, but it's just like 50% of bees would fuck up over agriculture so hard.
let's not overthink it, because clearly they didn't.
It's like I think what was one thing I saw recently where it said like it includes 50% of all life. So it's like somewhere like my cat disappears, like storm past the Avengers, get out of my way, and they're going, how is it possible to hold that many knives? Or my favorite one was just like, does that mean a lot of the dogs disappear? Just angry picture of John Wick.
Oh man.
John Wick will return.
Okay, so Ant-Man comes back, he knocks on the door, and they're like, you disappeared, and he's like, yeah, but I didn't get dusted, I was stuck in the quantum realm.
They're like, what the fuck is that?
And
Like,
so
let me tell you.
they try to convince Iron Man's like, no, I've got a family, and it was really cool seeing him,
Be a father.
yeah.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
a good father.
Yeah.
Like, you get to see his douchiness
Like,
still
actually
come
pay
through in a jokey way that works with the kid.
And that callback at the end with the "I love you 3000" thing. And,
Hang on.
Stop spoiling the spoilers.
Yeah. No, they do a really fucking good job with that. Robert Downey Jr. is a real actor.
oh yeah, yeah.
He's a real fucking actor, and
Yeah.
you get to see him do that.
Yeah,
It's
no,
good.
he was the anchor of the MCU.
Yeah. And so he gets convinced that it's actually a thing that can happen, and he shows up. And in the meantime, they go and talk the Hulk into it.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk.
This is actually one of the few issues I do have with this movie.
Really?
I don't hate that it changed.
Mr. Fix-It?
Sadly, it's not even close to Mr. Fix-It. I wish it was Mr. Fix-It.
Well, there are multiple things they do in this movie that are like concepts or moments that are kind of references to comics, but they're not really what happened in comics.
and Professor Hulk was something that actually has happened in the comics for a while. So
Yeah.
There's something that has some, like, for me, like, I didn't hate it, I like what they did with it, but for me, this is part was like, it's kind of like you were talking about with Thor, where it's like, this is
Yeah,
where
they had this build-up with Thor.
like, I feel like they were doing, like...
I mean, Hulk.
Like, I feel like there was, like, they were setting up, like, a Jekyll and Hyde kind of, not necessarily showdown, but conversation.
That's been the whole thing.
But
that's been the Hulk.
But that's a problem, though. It's like we're setting that up between Infinity War and Thor Ragnarok, and then we just cut to 5 years later, and now they're just the same thing. Which is kind of like, well, yeah, okay, I mean, that's eventually led, but I kind of wanted to see more of the interaction between two personas.
I would figure that after 5 years, he would have
had
figured
some
out a
time.
way to make Zen.
Which is like, and I get that logic. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. I'm just saying I kind of wish they played more with the personalities, because that's what makes that Hulk so much fun.
I get that on a certain level, but I really like seeing super powerful giant Hulk with all of Mark Ruffalo's like
Awkwardness.
personality quirks, because I love Mark Ruffalo.
I love
I've
Mark
loved
Ruffalo,
Mark
too.
Ruffalo like
It definitely-
way before I saw him in the MCU. And
It definitely gives them the most versatility.
yeah, it's funny what he does with that. It's
is.
funny to see the Hulk just being really sweet and kind of cute. So-
And this is where, like, I just need to temper my own expectations versus what we actually got. Because what we got wasn't bad, and I thought it was good. It's just not
Yeah.
what I wanted. Like,
Yeah,
and then,
definitely.
like, that's fine.
Go see it
Like,
again.
Yeah, like I do plan to eventually.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I want to see it at a flat viewing angle.
I mean, yeah, because we all saw like in the front, like.
No.
I bought my tickets 3 weeks ago. It was
So yeah, no, to
was
Mike's
tough.
point, but to Mike's point though, I was sort of expecting some sort of like conclusion with this struggle with
Jekyll and Hyde.
with
yeah.
with Bruce Banner and Hulk, because at first it was like, okay, well, Hulk isn't strong enough to fight Thanos, Bruce Banner isn't strong enough to fight Thanos. Like, where's the conclusion? We just sort of see like the afterward. You know what I mean?
honestly, I disagree with both of you on that,
Fair
because if we're talking
It's a
about
nitpick.
how
It's a 3-hour movie.
if we're talking about how the Hulk grew through Thor Ragnarok, when he kind of became more of a sentient creature with a personality,
Yeah.
and then that went back to being, Bruce Banner. And then in Infinity War, the Hulk gets his ass beat so bad that he's like, no, I don't want to smash anymore. and Bruce Banner's like, come on, bro.
We need to smash.
I think it makes sense to get to a point with the character now where the Hulk is just kind of like, okay. Because he's used to just chilling now. The Hulk is used to just hanging out instead of just coming out to punch everything.
Maybe, and I can see that perspective too. Again, it was like, I don't think
It
it's
makes
bad.
sense.
And like, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, and again, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
illogical. It's just not what I was hoping for.
Sure.
That's really what it boils down to.
All right.
All right.
Separate point to make. With 50% less of life to piss you off, I mean, he was bound to become more chill in 5 years.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure a lot of assholes
See
would
if
pop
I
up.
can just help with the lighting
Oh
here.
God!
No, I do not.
It's an LED, you asshole. That never works.
I
Ah, you guys, motherfuckers, don't need to see.
I like the campfire. I like the
We
campfire.
do the whole review like it was great.
It was fantastic.
My eyeballs hurt.
We look like the start of a Queen album.
Yeah. I mean, what are we can try, but you know, whatever.
fine,
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
I mean,
Okay, so
We're making it work.
So
Continuing.
I love the beginning of Act 2, which is basically time heist, and I'm like, yes, I am on board with this. I love time heist. I love the fact that they call it a time heist. I love the actual deployment of time heist.
Yes.
And like the improvisation to fix time heist at some point.
You know,
well, yeah. And that's the point where I really enjoyed where they took the fan service.
yeah. And this one does
Because-
have a lot of fan service, but it's done right.
They did, and
It
first
adds,
off,
but it doesn't subtract.
they've figured out how to do de-aging on characters in a way that's just fucking mind-blowing.
Right.
And the way that they were able to refilm scenes from the original Avengers movie from different angles was
That's
amazing.
America's ass.
It was fucking amazing. They did a
It's
great job.
America's ass.
And
That was
I really love when they said they're like, "Come on, go smash a couple things," you know, just for all
It's like,
time's sake.
And then he's like,
It's like,
I
all right.
find it gratuitous.
Yeah, that was a good self-awareness joke, right? I really enjoyed that.
That was all the good stuff.
And the way that the plans came together and then fell apart.
And then Hulk has to take the stairs.
I love how Loki is just like, like
Yeah, with the space.
it was a very Loki moment.
That's right. Yeah.
It was really great.
And is that how he escapes into Thor 2, basically? Because he got the Tesseract at that
No,
moment?
he's
No.
captured in Thor 2.
No, he's captured at the beginning of
So then, what happens?
Time shenanigans. Captain
It's
America goes
time
back-
shenanigans.
Okay,
The
sure.
existing plot lines and timeline doesn't really quite apply because they had to go back and change it, but they also apply because they had to go back and replace the stuff so that it
Yeah,
doesn't
like
actually happen.
just after Magic Captain America went back in the end and fixed everything,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. It's like, it's logistically that could be its own movie, but we'll just say it worked out. Yeah. So also, I know the whole issues with the Ancient One being played by Tilda Swinton and everything.
But Tilda Swinton's really good in the
I
role.
fucking love Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
She's a
too
great,
well, but
she's
she's
a
so
great,
good.
Woman.
actress.
Yeah.
She's a great actress in everything she's in. She's the perfect weird person. Like,
No, yeah, she's great.
I don't know how much you've seen her in, but
I've seen her in bits and pieces. It's one of those things. As an actress, I know I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I highly recommend checking out more of her movies because she's one of those people who specifically picked scripts that are interesting to her.
Right.
She doesn't just have an agent go around and just be like, "Oh, this will make me money." Like she's in it to do some cool shit.
Okay, so Chronicles of Narnia is not a good example.
No. But Suspiria, we need to talk about Kevin. Like she's pretty good.
That was sorry, that's the first one that came up.
yeah,
The Grand
'cause-
Budapest Hotel. I like that one.
The what?
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh yeah. No, she's-
Anyway, so
yeah, anyway.
they're doing the time heist. They're getting all the stones. Apparently,
The talk between her and Hulk is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he actually has to talk her into it, and the logic carries through.
Yeah.
and it makes sense when he brings up Doctor Strange.
And
Yeah, why did
I also
Doctor
like how
Strange
she
do that?
also knew the entire events that were going to happen in Doctor Strange
Yeah.
before that
And-
happened. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah,
Of course, she's got the time stone.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes
if
perfect
Doctor
sense.
Strange can watch the events of Avengers Endgame 14 million times and not spoil it for anybody, so can Tilda Swinton.
okay, so that happens in that whole thing. Meanwhile, Nebula and
War Machine.
Nebula and
War Machine.
War Machine.
what's his actual name?
Rhodey.
Rhodey?
Don Cheadle?
And Don Cheadle and the actor Rhodey is the name of the character.
Okay, Rhodey. Yeah. So her and Rhodey go off. And I just fucking love Don Cheadle. It's good to see him in something
Okay,
again.
if we want to talk about character arcs through the entirety of the MCU, let's talk about Nebula for a minute.
Yeah, Nebula's a really
like
interesting
Nebula
one.
really is the secret hero of the entire MCU at this point.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. And it's really interesting to see how she's grown through the different Like she grew, how she changed over the course of the Guardians movies, and how that comes into play in this movie as well.
Absolutely. No, like again, and that's why I love this movie too. Is it feels like it's such a payoff.
Yeah.
For a lot of the relationships we've seen over the many years these movies been going on now, and that really shows that particularly in Nebula, when there's part where she does run into her past self through time travel shenanigans.
Yeah.
And you do see this stark contrast where it's like the changes she makes are subtle, but they're still like to her core being.
Yeah.
Like there's still clearly a growth there, but there's still that aggressive side, and there's such a great contrast between that. And God bless that actress. God, I wish I could remember her name. I know she's the one that plays Doctor Who.
Karen Gillian?
Something like that.
She's the star of Difficult People on Hulu.
I have not seen that.
I was shocked because I was like, oh, that's her?
Yeah.
She's under so much makeup, you know?
Gotcha.
Which makes her performance all the more kind of amazing.
Not to mention that, you know, she's a very sarcastic, like, snarky New York misanthrope in that.
Karen Gillian.
Yeah, Karen Gillian.
Or Karen Gillan, whatever. I don't know.
She's considering that's the role I'm used to seeing her in, seeing her play a role that is just completely humorless and just dark and intense and tormented. Like, it was just really shocking to find out it was her, and
even
she
this movie,
continues to hit it out of the park.
And even in this movie, she has so many great moments. A lot of the quiet moments too. Like one of my favorite scenes of this movie that does not get talked about enough is right when Iron Man gets back from being stranded in space, and Nebula just sitting on the stairs, and Rocket just goes to sit next to her, and they don't say they don't say a word, and they don't need to say a word because you know exactly what they're both thinking.
Yeah, and he just holds her hand.
And they just hold her hand, like, and that's like, and I love, and honestly, the Guardian movies are oddly enough the ones that have been like doing that the most.
Yeah,
which is kind of amazing.
They're kind of the hidden treasures, which is why it's good that James Gunn is back.
Thank God.
Oh,
we forgot to talk about the Thing.
Oh yeah, they go to get Thor.
We forgot to talk about Thor. We need to talk about Thor.
All right,
Fat Thor. Let's talk about Fat Thor.
I have a couple of problems with how they milk the fat jokes.
Yeah, I think
the body shaming is a little rough.
It is one of a couple of gripes I have with the movie. Like, it's unnecessary to make fun of how he looks so much as you can just tell he's having a rough time. But the quip I really liked was when someone called him Lebowski.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, that's the best summary of what is funny about this character. It's not that he's fat, it's that he's a slob.
I mean, I think it's more like I think where the volume humor comes from, and I get the body shaming thing too. I do to a certain extent. I don't think it's that prevalent.
It's not that bad, but
I don't know. Even his mom is like, eat a salad.
Yeah, the fact that
to be fair, that's his mom.
Fine, but the fact that it's there is definitely something where I was like, could have done without that.
But he still kicks a shit ton of ass.
I still think, I think like you could have had like a horrific slob of a man like who's dwelling in his failure and whatnot, and
that's better.
But I don't think he needed to be like fat,
I don't know. I think it definitely like clearly shows a fall from grace.
I think the fact that he's been like drinking beer for years.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you could have, and of course there's all the jokes now about the amount of Fat Thor cosplay there's going to be. And I've definitely had friends who are like, now I can actually have the body of a god. And, so there's a certain level of that's fun.
And it's a fun sequence.
It is a fun sequence.
Also, Meek and Korg. And
yes, I love that they brought them back.
Yeah, I love
that they've just been sitting around playing Fortnite with Thor.
and Thor just goes on the mic. He's like, listen,
listen, kid. If you don't log out of this game,
listen, noob gamer 67,
69.
What it is 69.
And I just saw like little Meek without the armor, just trying to eat pizza.
Yeah, no,
it's a great visual gag.
It was a great moment, especially considering that the Hulk is
like at one with himself. And
yeah, the Hulk. He comes in all super zen, and he's like, "Hey,
buddy,
how you doing?" He's like, "I'm fine. How are you doing?" But then he brings up Thanos.
Yeah,
and there's a moment of where it suddenly gets serious, and Thor is clearly he hasn't processed his feelings, and that's very clear. And he grabs the Hulk by the shirt collar, and in a very interesting character moment. He just says, "Please take your hand off of me."
Yeah.
It's not a threat.
Yeah.
It's just he's just being like, "Don't do that."
Yeah, that's right.
And
yeah.
it is from a place that understands that he's upset. Like, it's a moment of surprisingly nuanced and subtle acting.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it's not an obvious thing in that sense of subtlety. But if you're, I mean, I have the steering wheel to rest my hand on. If you want to, do you want to rest your hand on the door?
I'm firmly like cast hard in shadow.
Yeah, no, that's might as well just leave that.
Yeah.
That was fine to wait. It's fine, guys.
It's fine.
I'm in
This is fine. But then
That was Thor.
but then he said, like, you know, we have a chance to fix this, and he convinces him. And what was the thing that he said that changed Thor's mind specifically?
We have beer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's beer.
There's beer in this
Oh yeah,
ship.
Rocket was like, "There's beer on the ship," and Thor says, "What kind?" And Thor's on board, and that's another big thing. Throughout the rest of the movie, Thor is just dressed in seriously like Big Lebowski cosplay. It is a ratty sweater and t-shirt and sweatpants, and he's got like long natty hair and like
His beard's unruly.
his beard is really gross and like unkempt and
Just like breadcrumbs and shit.
yeah, he looks like a beach bum. It's really crazy.
Alright, guys, just FYI, I'm pretty sure we got at most like 15 minutes left on the battery here, so.
Really?
Yeah, we.
But there's
Your
so much
battery
movie.
sucks.
It has a 2-hour charge.
It has a 2-hour charge?
Yeah.
Don't you have other batteries?
Not on me.
Why not?
I didn't think we were gonna be here for
this
2
is a-
hours.
Why not?
This is a waste of 15 minutes then.
All right.
We
well,
need
then,
to, like, either we need to bridge this or I didn't even record the rest on my phone.
all right, we had a really great time. That's it. No. Yeah, okay, so they did that. They go through, the
Cliff notes. Yeah,
time
cliff
heist
notes.
happens. God, this feels terrible now. The time heist happens, and then you have this. You have these really great moments where you have characters scheming against themselves,
Yeah.
and you get to see Captain America fight Captain America because old Captain America thinks that he's Loki.
Yeah, but right before we have that great moment.
Oh, yeah, the
where,
elevator
when,
scene,
like,
yeah.
There was like it was also a callback to Captain America 2, but also the most hated Captain America story
Yes.
of the last decade.
Yes.
Where Captain America goes in the elevator with all the Hydra people, like the secret
Yeah.
Hydra agents.
Everyone
holding
knows
the
he's Hydra.
Loki's scepter, and he goes like, oh, "I'll take that." And it's like, "Oh, I should call this in." Like, "No, don't do that." Hail Hydra.
Yeah,
And
he
everyone's
leans
like,
in and says "Hail Hydra," and
everyone's
then he
like, "Hmm?"
cuts to him walking out of the elevator with the briefcase,
Which-
and just genius callback.
I know. And then one way is like, "Oh man, you're just gonna like." Just on one hand is like, "Man, I can't even be mad at that reference."
No,
Well
they
done.
did it right. They did it right.
You know, and it's just the perfect way to just grab what you need. You know, it's like, you know,
Yeah.
it's the best use of your knowledge going back in time. Just like, Hell Hydra, give it to me later.
Well done. Way to avoid
Rule for
the
deception.
conflict. Just it was really well constructed. Then the fight between the two Captain Americas was great.
Yeah.
But of course, the
That's America's
Tony
ass.
fucks up.
Yeah.
Getting the Tesseract, so they have to figure out something else. They only have enough Pym particles, so they decide to head back to 1970 and break into the secret base
the
where
secret shield base.
yeah, where there's some more Pym particles, and you get some really nice scenes with.
Like, there's some great character moments there, like Captain America seeing Sharon Carter again. Not Sharon
Sharon
Carter.
Carter.
That's
Agent Carter.
Agent Carter. Sharon Carter's the older one. I mean, like the one that's in the future, the blonde one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Agent Carter, Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
There's
He gets to see her, and he chooses not to get her attention because it would, fuck
things up. Yeah.
Yeah, and he sticks to the mission, but you can see the pain in his face. It's really beautiful. And Tony gets to
Talk with his dad.
see his dad and hang out with him in like a casual man-to-man way that he doesn't get to do.
And also gets called a beatnik.
Yeah, he's like, "You're not a beatnik, are you?" And he's like, "No."
Also
got the facial hair.
Also appreciate they kept the same actor for Jarvis that they did for the Agent Carter TV show. I appreciated that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Jarvis, the butler, actually plays a pretty big role in
Nice.
the Agent Carter show, and they kept the same actor there. It's like, all right, I appreciate that.
That's significant. That's good.
Yeah.
So they do that well. They have more Pym particles. They hop back. Meanwhile, the whole thing with Nebula, where since Nebula is like a networked mind, the other Nebula, you get to see Thanos with Gamora and Nebula like before,
Like at their
they
most
started
horrific.
to split. Yeah. And that was really interesting.
Like Thanos just comes into this big old fucking Dragon Ball Z sword. So like, well, that was a lot of murdering for today.
Yeah, right.
He like throws the sword down. Can't wait to murder some people tomorrow.
Yeah, so and then basically future Nebula connected onto old Nebula's Wi-Fi password, and
Essentially
that fucks
accurate.
up everything.
Yeah.
And then Thanos pretty much realizes everything's going on.
That's how Thanos figures out what's happening, and he
'Cause-
realizes, oh,
I win the future.
I win, but I
And,
don't really win.
what was it? And then he gets a hold of some Pym particles.
Yep.
And
From Nebula.
No, basically Nebula.
oh yeah,
past
no, that's
Nebula,
a bit further on.
Yeah.
Past Nebula comes back with the rest. Past Nebula goes and captures New Nebula.
Yeah.
Nubula. And
Future
basically
Nebula.
takes the gold thing from her head so that she can blend in. Goes back to the future. Oh yeah,
And
we
then-
forgot the other one.
What other one?
The other one with I hope this isn't for us.
I don't think so.
No, we're fine.
It's just security.
The big moment, because
The Thor 2 callback?
Black Widow and
Oh.
yeah, we're gonna have to film the rest of this on your phone. There's no way we can finish this.
All right, fine.
We'll do it on mine. I can send you the file.
That'd work much easier.
So they head off to get the Soul Stone, and
Hang out with Red Skull.
they of course run into Red Skull as it happens.
He gives the full speech he gave to Thor in Infinity War.
You mean
Thanos.
What did I say?
Thor.
Well, I'm tired.
Yeah. So that happens, and
What a
it was a thing where the two of them both basically had the idea that they were going to be the one to die.
Yeah,
And
they both
have a fight
to see who dies.
to try to be the one who dies. And
What a great, horrific idea.
yeah. I've heard that scene fell flat for some people. It did not fall flat for
No.
me.
Because his characters
um,
have such a long history. Those
I
ones
feel like there's a lot that's being said for both Black Widow and Hawkeye
Yeah.
at those moments, because Hawkeye is basically suffering from survivor's guilt. I mean,
Yeah.
they're both suffering from survivor's
Also,
guilt.
he's
but,
done some horrible things.
but he's done
Yeah.
some horrible shit.
And you just have this sequence, which is the two of them fighting, and then Black Widow,
Chooses.
is the one that ultimately dies. Yeah.
she's the one who dies.
Yeah.
And they do an interesting callback where she falls, and then they just show her lying there the same way that Gamora was.
Mm-hmm.
And
He's in the.
he
river.
basically has the same sequence that Thanos did in Infinity War. And it was sad.
Yeah, no, it was really effective, at least for me.
It was sad. And yeah, when they all get back to the future, we'll touch on Thor's thing in a second, but I feel like
Yeah.
since these moments are connected, when they get back to the future, there's this moment where everyone's like, oh, we all made it back. Wait, where's Natasha?
Yeah.
And then
And
yeah,
everyone just kind of realizes. And again, Jeremy Renner doing that whole acting thing that he does, just without a word, you feel it.
Yeah.
And the Hulk is the one who has the strongest reaction, which again ties back to the whole Age of Ultron thing, where it's not that he was in love with her. She just really mattered to him because they had that special connection. And again, I have to dismiss anything that talks about it being a romantic thing, because it's this whole thing where you're talking about any relationship in movies between
Men and
two
women.
characters, yeah, men and women especially, that gets that close or that intimate or that trusting has to be a romantic thing. but it doesn't have to be. I have a bunch of friends that I'm really close to because I've just known them for a long time. We've been through a lot of tough shit together, and we know that we can tell each other anything. And that's something you don't get to see in movies that often.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that being the relationship between the two of them. And they make that very clear here.
Yeah.
And they have that scene on the lake
Yeah.
where they're all
Just-
mourning her.
Just like fuck.
Yeah. But yeah.
Hulk throws a bench.
Yeah. But going back to another sort of funny but like also pretty touching moment.
I actually really liked the scene. That
Yeah.
was like it kind of like redeemed Thor 2 a little bit in my mind, even though I know you liked it quite a bit.
And it redeemed it for the exact reason that I love it. Because it's when you get to see the characters interact. It has the other characters that were just bit characters in Thor 1.
I felt like this one gave the mom much more identity than Thor 1 or 2 ever did.
Sure, but it also made her feel like she mattered more in Thor 2.
And I agree,
Even if
yeah.
it was just her being like, you know...
Yeah, where Thor runs into mom, basically.
Yeah, you know, in Thor 2, she was basically an excuse for man sadness. But,
Yeah.
but she still, you know, was more significant than in Thor 1, where she was just the queen.
Yeah.
But here you actually get to see Thor interact with his mother on what he knows is going to be the day she dies.
Yeah.
And it's just this really nice sequence where first he doesn't think that he can do it. No, at first he doesn't think that he can go and talk to Natalie Portman's character, whose name I can't remember.
Jane Foster?
Yeah, Jane.
Jane, okay.
Because the whole scene when like they have Thor doing the brief on the Reality Stone, and he goes,
Yeah.
and this is Jane, and we were together for a while, and
now we're not.
now we're not, and it's just like. It's just, you know, sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't, yeah. And everyone's like, oh god, get him out, get him out, get him off. And he goes like, and like, it
Everyone's
wasn't
just
like
uncomfortable.
Like Hulk comes out, I was like, no, I'm not finished.
Was it an Iron Man?
It was like Hulk or Iron Man, it was one of the
Yeah.
two.
One of those guys.
But yeah, so he runs off and ends up running into his mom, and she can tell that he's from the future.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
He looks like the Big Lebowski.
she's a fucking goddess.
Yeah,
Literally.
Also, his
So-
eyes like completely different.
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and she's a fucking oracle. So, you know, she understands these things. And they just have this really sweet, heartfelt talk, and he gets to say goodbye to his mom, and it's just really nice.
And it just goes to show you, like, just Chris Hemsworth really is, like, just the secret weapon they didn't know what to do with for 2
He's a
movies.
great actor.
He is. No, like, there's one of those actors, though, like, I don't think he was given enough to do in the first 2 Thor movies that I feel like, he's
I don't-
really versatile. And
I
again,
don't
this
think
comes
he
with
was
the-
given anything serious to do.
I mean, like, honestly,
Here you
it's
got
like-
to see him actually show a little heart.
honestly, I think it's when they let him kind of be more flexible with how he presented things that he showed much
Yeah.
more personality and heart to the character.
This is definitely the Thor 3 Thor that you get to see
Yeah.
in Endgame.
But it still works. Like, in my opinion, it works better to me.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, so that was a good scene, and they all get back.
And then Rocket.
And Nebula gets more Pym particles, and she goes and hops back to
yeah.
Thanos.
and Rocket sneaks up on Natalie Portman.
yeah, Rocket sneaks over and to get the stuff, and they go back.
Yeah.
Which was that a
and then
scene
they
from
have-
Thor 2, or did they just get Natalie Portman for a scene?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Like, that's all I'm gonna fucking do, guys.
I mean, keep in mind, Tom Hiddleston was in the movie for all of, like, 10 minutes.
It's like, Tom Hiddleston, like, wants to be there, though.
Yeah, sure.
Like, Natalie Portman has made it very clear she did not like her time in the MCU.
Well, yeah. But then they have the very interesting conversation of who's going to be the one to
Just
put
now.
on the gauntlet, because, you know, the energy of putting on the gauntlet nearly kills even Thanos. So it's decided it's going to be Hulk, because he's the Hulk, and
And it's mostly gamma radiation.
mostly gamma radiation, and he can deal with that shit. Meanwhile, Nebula goes back and with the Pym particles, so that
I thought she just uses the time thing, and then the spaceship just kind of flies.
she uses the.
because they're back in the present time, so they just have Pym particles.
Oh right, she just opens the portal, huh?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then the spaceship comes out.
Yeah,
Spaceship.
yeah. No, it was Captain America who got the Pym particles so that they could get back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, spaceship. But
And then
deep
you
cut.
have...
and then you have the
third
crazy
act.
shit where the spaceship comes out of the portal, and they've all shut all the blinds and everything to make sure that, you know, nothing happens when they put it on. And Hulk does the snap, and you get the whole thing where
his face is
works.
partially burned.
It works.
Yeah.
They unsnap everybody.
The birds
and they're
are
like,
back.
yay, it's nice. And you have this nice moment of reprieve, and then
past Thanos shows up in his big ass fucking spaceship.
yeah, and
here's
basically
me and all my friends.
basically what they did to Tony Stark's house in Iron Man 3, they do to the entire Avengers base.
Yeah. And one thing I forgot to mention too is the fact that Thor gets Mjolnir back from the past.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does. Thor gets Mjolnir back.
Which should be
Well,
important.
it takes a while to fly over.
Yeah. So that happens. The base is in ruins. They're not sure where the gauntlet went. Hawkeye finds it and ends up running from, the space aliens that are chasing him down the hallway.
Yeah.
He's still shooting aliens with sharp sticks.
Yeah. The Hulk is holding up a building so that Rocket and War Machine can escape.
Yeah. Which they don't initially. But Ant-Man shows up and does his whole "I'm big" thing. And you get the moment where, let's see,
It's the original.
Thanos sends the original Nebula, old Nebula, over to find the gauntlet, and he just sits there and waits.
And then that's when he leads into the original trilogy coming in to have the final
You
showdown.
get Cap, you get Iron Man, you get Thor.
Looking more and more like a Meatloaf album. Like every time he shows up in
He
the movie.
he has both Mjolnir.
Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, and he's got his full golem, his full
beard is
suit,
braided now.
but it's
Yeah.
got like beard is braided. He's Norse as fuck.
Battery signal. Let's see how long does it have when that comes on.
I don't know, man.
Let's see what happens. So that happens, and they do the whole crazy battle where the three of them take on Thanos at once, and of course he's just fucking slapping them aside.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
It's a great fight.
It is a great fight. But Thanos, of course, easily outmatches the three of them because he's fucking Thanos, and all three of them get the fuck beat out of them.
Thanos in his prime too. That's important because they even de-aged Thanos, so you notice.
Yeah. So he beats the fuck out of them, and breaks Captain America's shield
with Space Sword.
and it's a really intense battle. It's a lot of fun to watch, and the stakes are real because you're like, wait, what? Yeah, this could actually go poorly, and
that's where we should end this part.
no, we'll get to it.
We'll go for as long.
I want to
as
see how long this lasts. But then you get to the point where
like trying to stab Thor with his own axe, basically.
yeah, and Thor is basically just fighting him with the axe, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Mjolnir comes in and bashes Thanos on the head, and is like, where did that come from? And it flies back into Captain America's hands.
When that happened, this kid, like one row over from me, loses his goddamn mind.
In the theater
Like-
I was watching, my whole theater fucking cheered when that happened.
Same.
This guy was going, woo! This guy was screaming.
Yeah,
and
everyone was like, yeah, fuck yeah, and Thor is like, I knew it, I knew he was worthy, and
then Captain America
that's-
did all kinds of cool shit with it.
yeah, that's well known to
The
be
double-
like a
the
really
double North
cool
beatdown.
moment,
Yeah.
really cool moment in the comics,
Yeah.
which is when Captain America picks up Mjolnir, because of course he's fucking worthy, he's Captain fucking America.
And that was the case where I actually went cosplaying as Captain America when I first saw the movie, and
Nice.
one person asked me, "Is like, are you gonna pick up Mjolnir?" I'm like, "We'll see."
So yeah, just a great moment, and then you have Captain America wielding one hammer and Thor wielding
the
Stormbreaker.
axe, yeah.
I love it when he's holding the two and he's like, here, you take the little one. And he just
Yeah,
tosses
that's right.
Captain America Mjolnir.
No, it's when Captain America's holding the axe. Like, no, I want that one.
Yeah.
They do like a trade up.
So what ensues is a moment where you think the heroes are done for, and then a bunch of Doctor Strange portals start opening up,
Oh yeah, because then that's when Thanos' entire army.
Oh yeah,
is gonna-
Thanos' whole army shows up.
And they have
his
that-
whole army. It's
like,
just swarming over everything that you can see.
That great image of just Thanos and the army behind him, and just Captain America standing by himself in this wonderful symmetry.
Yeah, no, it's the visuals of this final battle is insane.
You could really sense like the despair setting in
Yeah.
until the release.
And then,
shit.
like a bunch of Doctor Strange portals start opening up, and the entire other side of the MCU shows up.
Yeah, like
and
every
we're talking
fucking everybody.
all of Wakanda,
All of
and
every sorcerer.
all
Lord
the
Meek were
Asgardians,
there.
because they've unsnapped everybody. So everyone who died is coming back, as well as all the Asgardians.
Yeah.
Like you
Might as
have
well
this
throw in
really
every
great
single Power
moment
Ranger.
where you see all these different characters just walking through. You're like, oh, it's going to be a fight now.
Yeah.
And thus begins one of the craziest fucking things I've ever seen.
Like,
Yeah.
like the closest thing I can remember is like in Ultimates 2, like the final volume, there's a splash shot. It kind of very similar to this.
Yeah.
Where it's just like they had like the anti-Avengers kind of thing. Where, like,
Yeah,
have you read the Ultimates?
No.
But you don't really need to get what I'm going right there. Just look it up. It's one of the first splash page it joins up. Anyway, big like Asgardian army.
Suck it up.
No. It's like
Look it up.
I said. It's like you don't need to know what's going on to look
I'm like,
it up.
that's
It's
weirdly aggressive. Okay, but go on.
it's like this great splash page of just Captain America just, like pointing, like doing like the charge, like every MC like ultimate
yeah.
superhero, like they're all
Nice.
fighting like Asgardians and devils
Fuck
and
yeah.
like soldiers and all this like awesome
Yeah.
fucking shit.
Yeah,
And, like it just so calls back to that shot.
You get to see this visual with all the power of Disney's giant money dick behind it. And it's just a sight to behold. And
No,
it is
it feels like
nonstop.
it feels like a comic splash page come to life. And it's amazing.
It's the most
then Captain
epic.
America, he's all like, Avengers,
Assemble.
assemble!
Because I remember people were pissed off when Age of Ultron fucking cock teased us on that. Like, Avengers, cut to credits, like, oh, fuck you!
But yeah, so everyone fights, and what ensues is just an epic battle where everybody fights everybody, and there's like a relay race with the
Even
gauntlet.
Howard the Duck is there.
What? Where?
Yeah,
I didn't
like,
notice
so-
that.
like, I didn't see it either, but apparently like, he's hiding in the background. Someone like put a picture on Twitter and showed it to me. But he's fucking there.
All right, I gotta look at it next time I go. But yeah, it's hilarious. Spider-Man does his thing, and there's one moment where Spider-Man connects
instant
his
kill.
slinger. He connects his web slinger to fucking Valkyrie on a Pegasus.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
right.
it's just this absolutely insane shot of them going and navigating through all this crazy shit that's happening in midair.
No, the best part is when Spider-Man is surrounded by the minions or whatever, and then
Oh, yeah.
he's basically like, suit, instant kill mode!
Spider legs
stabbing
start
everybody.
stabbing everything.
Or when Captain Marvel comes down and saves him, and he's just like,
I'm Peter. Hi.
Hi, I'm Peter.
yeah, Tom Holland, just
like-
perfect Spider-Man.
Like,
I love
honestly,
it.
like, one of my favorite shots, like, at the very beginning, we just have Giant Man just fucking just cold cock punches a giant
Yeah.
alien in the face.
Yeah,
And I saw my girlfriend and we're both like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool.
there's continuous.
It's a lot of fan service, but it works really well.
Yeah, it's continuous fan service, and you get to see a lot of people have like a moment to shine. And I understand that some people are upset that their characters didn't get more time to shine, but it's fucking everybody.
Yeah.
It's everybody. And there is,
Like-
granted, I do think they did Black Widow kind of dirty. But they don't really have, aside from Nebula, like, not a lot of women in this movie. But
Well, there is
they
that
do
one
have
part.
that.
Yeah.
They do have that moment where basically the A-Force assembles.
I mean, that was the case where, like, that was a movie pitch. Like,
Oh, yeah.
in GIF form.
I want to see that movie.
I know,
that movie
like,
looks amazing.
Like, I think it's like the movie. I follow Movie Bomb on Twitter. He said, like, this is basically the part where they said, like, if enough people share this GIF, we'll make this movie.
Oh yeah, no, I hope so. Because that was just a really cool moment where you just have all the female superheroes,
Including
drop
Pepper
in,
Potts as
including Pepper Potts in her suit.
Yeah.
just an incredible shot. It's like a yearbook photo of all the women heroes, and it's just a really cool moment. I wish there was more of it, but it was a really cool moment to see.
And Captain Marvel's taking a headbutt from Thanos.
Oh yeah, no, there's a great moment where Captain Marvel goes hand to hand with Thanos, and he headbutts her, and she just looks at him and is like,
No,
Bitch.
bitch! I've been waiting 5 years.
There's the final back and forth with the gauntlet when it finally reaches Thanos, and he almost puts it on, and then he finally puts it on, and he goes to snap again, and you're like, oh no! And it just does a hollow clank, and you turn and you see that Tony has actually gotten the gauntlet.
No, he uses the extremist armor.
The stones.
Well, it's not extremist at that point. It's nanotech.
Oh well,
he's gotten the nanotech. He's gotten the stones, and they integrate into the gauntlet and his arm, and he snaps his fingers and dusts Thanos' entire army and Thanos,
which was very extremely satisfying.
It was very cool, but
satisfying.
You also know that he's not going to survive that.
Yeah, and he doesn't.
You get a really, really sad, really well done
goodbye
final moment. And
final moment.
And then of course Tony Stark does get the last closing line too, right before he does the snap.
Yeah,
which was a great callback.
Yeah,
and a great closer. Apparently, that was the last minute edition. I read this earlier today. Apparently, they said we can't have him say something. He has to say something. They went back and forth. Where it's like, why did you tell him to say Iron Man? Is like, we need to shoot this today. Call Robert Downey. Get him here now.
Because Thanos says I am inevitable before he tries to snap, and then
it's just I am Iron Man, and then Simon's like, which is so perfect.
And you definitely you get to see Pepper basically say goodbye in a way that, I read one person online talking about how what she said to him is basically what his dad said to his mom right before she, when she was on her deathbed from cancer. So, it got to him really intensely.
Damn.
Yeah, it's such a genuinely acted moment. It's well written, it's heartfelt, and it fucking hits you hard.
Yeah. And then, of course, the funeral scene afterwards.
Yeah, the funeral scene.
Which, the kids from Iron Man 3
We're
is
missing
there.
something, though. What are we missing from the fight that's important? Had something come to mind, and it's gone now.
I can't think of it off the top of my head. I feel like we covered the bases.
Oh, Gamora! Gamora comes reunites with.
Oh yeah, the whole Gamora Nebula thing.
No, with the.
Oh Quill. Yeah, with Quill.
Yeah,
that was good too.
This guy, well, your competition was a tree.
Yeah. No, it was.
I can't think of any other big standout moments off the top of my
I feel
head.
like it had
it's really
something
just
to
the
do.
epilogue after.
No, the important bit, Thanos.
Oh,
because they talked to Thanos, and this was the important bit because it calls back to the other thing from Infinity War that I had a problem with.
Oh, that's right.
They talk to him, and he says, and they're like, "Well, it didn't fix anything. Everyone was miserable." And he's like, "Oh, now I see that killing everybody didn't fix anything. No, I see killing half of everybody didn't fix anything. So I'm just gonna kill everybody and start a new universe that will be grateful for what I've done."
Yeah,
and it's like, all right. Now
you're crazy.
Yeah, now unequivocally, you're fucking nuts.
Beyond ambiguity at that point.
There's absolutely no subtext. It's like, oh,
it's
this dude...
okay, that is actually the text now. Okay.
Exactly, because it also brought back the thing from the comics where he wasn't doing it because it was the right thing to do. He was doing it because he wanted the gratitude.
Right.
Yeah.
He wanted a personal appreciation. In the comics, it was different, of course.
Well,
and I had an issue with
to
how
be fair, actually, it turned... Oh, there you go.
To be fair.
Let's see.
Man, look at this sudden bump in quality.
I'm a little mad your phone's better than the camera.
Well, I mean, they focus on updating it every year, so...
I mean, this camera goes back to the first, X-Men First Class, so...
Ouch.
Oh, that thing was better.
Oh, I guess it's low on battery.
Everything's running low on battery. Fuck.
We'll put this one down here. I'll hold this one up.
No.
So...
Alright, there we go. So
to be fair.
Oh, yeah,
to be fair.
To be fair, actually, the whole, I found about this later. No.
Here you go. Let's do the technical side first.
Alright.
There we go. Okay. Hey, that's pretty good.
Alright, so,
She started with this.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, that, then I need,
so we left
3
off,
hours of footage on
we
Hulu.
left
That's
off,
fun.
we left off when we were talking about,
Thanos
and the fact that now there's no subtlety to him being a bad guy, like he's just fucking nuts.
But like actually the whole half population thing actually is from the comics, I found out. It was from a Silver Surfer book years ago.
I thought
where
wanted...
he did it to fix things?
No,
Yes,
he did it
actually.
to
Bring balance to the galaxy?
I thought he did it to impress Death.
No,
Yeah, that was the big plot line for
that
Infinity
came
War.
later. That like the very first motivation he had, and this goes in the category of like the whole like, oh, he's like Lex Luthor's a mad scientist, so that's why it makes it okay what they do with Batman vs Superman. So it's one of those things like I don't really think it really matters in the grand scheme of things. I just want to make if I can make it interesting. But for those things that never happened, it actually did. He himself sort of had a big argument about it, where he was making the same argument he was making in Infinity War. So there is precedent for it. I'm not saying it makes it right, but there is precedent for it.
Okay, fine. I still hate it.
Fair enough. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're allowed to still hate it.
No, absolutely. But I like the fact that I'm sure they heard some of the feedback.
Like, I don't know about that, because like
they did film them both pretty much at the same time.
This was all like this is already post production way after Infinity War came out.
Yes, but also consider that post production means special effects, which are the last thing to go on a film. Mm-hmm. So it's the easiest thing to like re-record.
Like,
all you have to do is bring Josh Brolin in to record a couple things.
I don't know, like to me, I kind of just imagine like I just kind of think this is probably the plan all along. Like maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't think the backlash was that big to really make them change, come back and change shit.
Regardless, it's good.
Okay, fair enough.
It fixes it. It's
just like the movie.
It's important.
It fixes everything.
It's important that they did that, and they did it well, and they show that he's just an egomaniac. And it's not about the practicality. It's not about him trying to find a proper solution. It's just about him wanting to be the one to do it.
Yeah, he wants the glory.
Yeah, and in the end, he's okay with destroying the universe if it means he gets to be God.
And like there is subtext for that in Infinity War when you look for it, but I do agree with your complaint that you have to really kind of look for it, and it's not inherently obvious.
Oh,
so
something spilled.
What's spilled?
I don't know. It's wet.
What's back there?
There's a...
Oh, that's water.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
Okay.
Well, now my butt's wet.
Well, you shouldn't have sat on the spigot.
Well, how am I supposed to know it's there?
You feel it on your butt.
It's dark.
Yeah, don't remember the last time you let the spit up your butt?
Shut the fuck up, Mike.
We don't talk about that night.
We're pretty experimental. Anyway.
But yeah, so that was good, and then Iron Man dies, and then you get the funeral scene, and I am definitely on board with the complaints that Black Widow didn't get a proper funeral scene.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, but like,
I understand
as she was getting her funeral, Thanos attacked.
It wasn't even her funeral, though.
I mean,
they were mourning.
You could probably assume there was another funeral for her before then.
Yeah, but that's a cop-out.
Yeah.
She should have at least, even in like
it could have
what comes to mind
both funerals.
What comes to mind is like Serenity, because at the end of Serenity, when you see the main person who died, when you see their tombstone, you also have the tombstones of the other couple of people who died over the course of the movie behind them. Mm-hmm. They don't make a big deal of it, but it just acknowledges that, they're dead and people give a shit.
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, no one cares about Black Widow, even though she died a couple hours ago. Like,
or however long that, like, I assume the funeral took a while to get going.
Yeah, but,
that being said, having the kid from Iron Man 3 there was a nice touch.
that was a nice touch. At first I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, so we want to figure it out too.
I was like,
Did you
wait,
spot
who?
that?
Oh yeah, the random kid that was just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Iron
who's
Man
that
3,
guy?
yeah.
And then I realized, and yeah, no, that was a good touch.
Yeah.
And the movie ends with good wrap-ups for all the characters.
Passing the torches.
Gamora has run off somewhere. Fat Thor has joined the Guardians of the Galaxy.
I can't fucking wait.
And he's gonna be...
I thought he was just getting a ride.
Where?
Like, I think the implication...
Asgard wasn't snapped by Thanos. It was
it
blown
said
up
I got
by
a
the
ride,
fucking Doom cover.
But the implication is that he's joined the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Especially
Plus they're talking about, like, I'm the captain. I'm the captain.
It's like, yeah, totally.
We know who's in charge.
You're
totally in charge, but we all
totally-
know that it's Thor and the Guardians.
But that being said,
Yeah.
if you have Thor in Guardians
this way
3...
a little.
Oh.
Here you go.
Like, that being said, like, if Thor's in Guardian 3, I will be extremely happy.
No, I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's
so
the
too.
implication. So that's going to be fun. And then
It's like, Chris Hemsworth just renewed his contract.
they send Captain America back in time to return all the Infinity Stones to where they came from, and he doesn't show back up. And Hulk is like, "What happened?" And they look and they see old Cap sitting on a bench, eating crackers.
as old people do.
Being an old person. Complaining about orchards or something.
You kids today.
But they do the whole thing where he got to go and live his life.
Yeah.
And he passes the shield on to Falcon,
who actually does become Captain America in the comics, so that's kind of a big deal.
Good callback. And
more importantly,
they decide that they're not going to talk about it in detail.
Actually, what I like about this is the passing on to Falcon rather than Bucky, who has a lot of people other choices. The fact that Falcon does a lot more controversial shit as Captain America, which means if they really want to go there, they can fucking go there.
Well, I hope so.
Because his run directly talked about like police brutality against minorities and immigration,
that'll be fun.
And civil rights and all kinds of fun shit.
Let's get ready for a whole new wave of white guys really upset
angry
about
white nerds.
Marvel becoming all SJW when it's always been about.
I know, again, movie about a great montage of that. Where they just cut back to the first fucking Iron Man.
Yeah,
and it's like we become used to a system that's okay with zero accountability, and he goes, start.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be cool. But I really loved the fact that they chose the closing shot to show that he basically went back and got to live his life with Peggy.
Yeah. Although there has been some talk about like the loophole of the plot hole of that, I guess.
Time travel.
Yeah, no, I think. Well, actually, like the
wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Nice. I get that reference.
Yeah. Jeremy Baramy, as it were.
I also get that reference.
But no, like actually, like Russo Bros actually I read the article today. Apparently, they addressed this. Apparently, not only that, but he can also hop dimensions at some point. Is the implication. So that means there. So that means there are actually altered dimensions, which means you could do literally whatever the fuck you want now.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess with the Reality Stone.
It has expanded the potential of the Marvel Universe, but I think they're going to play it somewhat safe, except for possibly James Gunn, who just does his own fucking thing and succeeds wildly at it.
That's how we get the X-Men.
But yeah, they landed it. They nailed it. They fucking did it. They did it so well that I had none of the complaints about this that I've had about every single other thing from these directors. The couple of gripes that you might have are time travel loopholes and Black Widow not getting her due and some fat jokes. With that aside, like 95% of the rest of the movie is...
Well, and the LGBT thing.
Which one?
The LGBT thing.
What thing?
Granted, this is Marvel's own fault for doing this.
What?
Where they kind of give themselves a pat on the shoulder. It's like, we have, like, the first openly LGBT character in the movie, and it's just, like, one of the guys in Captain Circle for, like, a minute.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear about that.
I only found out about this only today, bro.
Oh, fine, whatever. Something. There's the first guy in the support group circle who speaks up, is talking about how he had a date and just casually talks about how it's a guy, and it's just no big deal. Oh. And I thought that was cool.
No, I liked it, but it's more like again, this is Marvel's own fault. If they didn't say they were going to do this, they would have been fine.
Yeah.
But they gave themselves a huge pat on the shoulder back for doing that, and then it was like a bit part. Like, really? That was it?
Yeah.
That was like when they said like LeFou is gay in the new Beauty and the Beast, and it's like a hug.
well, yeah. But if you're not paying attention to that shit, it's whatever.
I didn't even know it was the same until I read about it.
Yeah. But that was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in a movie theater. Bar none.
I want to see it again.
Yeah.
I want to see it again. I'm going to see it again.
Yeah.
It's worth seeing in 3D. It's worth seeing in IMAX. It's worth seeing in the best format that you can afford and stomach, because I know some people have issues with 3D. But if you're the kind of person whose eyes strain after like an hour of 3D, you're not going to make 3 hours. Don't do it. But if you're cool with wearing 3D glasses for a long ass time, do it. It is amazing.
I do want to see it in like an IMAX or Dolby for sure.
I have 3D issues.
I want to see it in a Dolby. I want to go see it at the Metreon on the proper IMAX screen.
Nice.
They only do like a couple 3D showings a day. So
really?
I want to see it in full IMAX 3D. But it is a spectacle. It is the culmination of over a decade of movies. It is 22 movies leading up to this. And the way that they make it makes every single movie matter on some level. Like Black Panther wasn't as significant in this one, but it was significant at the end of Infinity War. So it works. every single Marvel movie has its place somewhat in this, so that if you've watched it, you will get more enjoyment out of this movie from it.
Like, this is a movie
Other than The Incredible.
this is the movie. I think it's the movie that understands why these characters matter, why they're still culturally relevant, why people still read these books every year. It basically understands that we're here because these characters are so damn good, and we love seeing them interact with each other, and love seeing them talk, and we love getting to feel with them and be with them and feel like you're on these epic adventures. But they're still very much human. They still have the frailty and the qualities that we all have. And that's what makes such great characters. Even the ones that are more ideal, the ones of Captain America.
You get to see all of them go through vulnerability and pain in this movie.
There's something of value in each one of these characters. I think it understands that and knows how to exploit that, or exploit's the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying.
They know how to properly utilize them for a good film, and
it gets it. It gets what makes these comic book stories so great. It makes them so timeless.
It does every character except for Black Widow, right?
Ouch.
And even then, the scenes that she gets on screen with Cap, at least, you know,
it's more like the resolution to her story is suffering more than her actual time in the film.
She has good chemistry. Scarlett Johansson deserves some credit for being a good actress and taking this stone cold character in a time of vulnerability, and you know, two of the people that she's been closest to forever, you know, she's close with them, and she has those moments. It's great.
And I will say that I think it knows when to utilize what character for what amount of time. Like, because Captain Marvel isn't in this movie much, but I think she because she is still a relative newcomer. It would have been weird if she took over the spotlight from the main characters we've seen for the past 10 years.
And I know that some people had those concerns when they saw the trailer.
Yeah, and I think those were valid concerns, but like, it doesn't become a problem. They knew exactly when and where to use her.
I mean, she's basically Superman.
Pretty much.
And stronger than any of the fucking Marvel characters on there. So, the fact that she leaves around, like, after they kill Thanos with the whole thing of, like, you know, this is happening across the universe. Lots of people need my help, so you guys handle your thing.
Fucking deal with it.
You guys can handle Earth. Let me go handle 1,000 other planets. Can
also,
you do that?
When it comes to Black Widow, her movie is going to be a prequel. However, I looked it up, and the director is the same person who directed Berlin Syndrome and Lore. I don't know if you saw Lore.
I have not.
It was calling it a Nazi movie does a disservice.
Okay.
Because it came out a few years ago, and it's basically about some kids who have to escape from Germany with another kid who, I haven't seen it, so I might be somewhat wrong, but I heard nothing but amazing things about it. Another kid who was raised by pro-Nazi parents.
Okay.
And so she doesn't believe them, but they're still helping each other. And that evolves over the course of the movie, and it's apparently very well done. So this is a person who makes good films, you know, not just action movies.
I mean, like, I think what else I heard about it too is I think they've, like, there's some character in that film, no one knows who it is yet, but they've included very, very hush-hush, so what's more than likely going to happen is they're going to use that as a springboard to launch that particular character. Whatever it is.
We'll see. But the other thing is that the writers on it, one of them is the dude who wrote The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, which I haven't seen, not a big deal, but the other person writing for it is the lady who wrote the movie Timer. That was more of an indie flick a few years back.
I haven't seen that one.
I have seen that. And I remember being very, very pleasantly surprised because the movie was not only a good character study, and it had good dialogue, and it had great acting, and great character development, but it did something with the ending that was not what you expected, and it made it a much better movie for it. So this is a good writer. So the director's a woman, and one of the two writers is a woman, and the writer that's a woman is the one who has written the one that I've seen, and from what I've heard is the better of the two.
Okay.
So...
I hope it's good.
I'm
glad it's being made.
I am very optimistic about this.
All right, cool.
So hopefully she'll get her due there.
I really want to see the new Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, that looks like fun.
That looks awesome.
Jake Gyllenhaal's hero is great, Alex. Yeah. I was like, and like that.
Fucking love that.
It's
guy.
definitely gonna be a case of where we go from here. It's gonna because they definitely like there's no end credits scene here, so it's definitely gonna be like, okay, at this point, this story is over.
Yeah.
So now it's more like, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Kane the Conqueror's been thrown around quite a lot as a
Aren't they
possibility.
talking about the Eternals?
Eternals
They
is
are
the movie
doing the Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals is the movie they're doing, which I'm excited about. Just because like that's an out there property. It's like you gotta go out there with that.
Yeah.
There's no other way to do it. Game of Thrones, but Marvel.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. But
Angelina Jolie, let's do this.
we'll see what happens. I'm waiting for them to to announce the next wave once enough people have seen Endgame, because they were a lot more hush hush about this.
They were like Black
This time
Panther 2
around.
obviously is happening.
Yeah, Black Panther 2 and
Doctor
the next
Strange
Spider-Man.
2.
Although Tom Holland already leaked that there's already going to be a third Spider-Man movie.
Of course he did. I mean,
And,
not like anyone's surprised, but
yeah.
I think he's just happy to get work.
Sure. So that's going to be a thing, and I'm really excited to see what Phase 4 brings, because honestly, I'm really glad to just see this main thread of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that is centered around Iron Man and Captain America be over, and be over with such a satisfying conclusion.
calling right now, it's going to surround Black Panther and Doctor Strange.
That's gonna be fun. I would love to see Doctor
I
Strange.
really
too.
would love more Doctor Strange.
They are definitely making a sequel. That's been confirmed.
Good. I am a big fan. So,
Yeah, so
it's one
I
of my
think that
favorites.
wraps everything up, guys. We've been talking
All
for
right.
like 2 hours. So
Yay!
I'm
Not as long
hungry
as
and
the
I haven't
movie.
eaten,
Hungry.
and so we need to go eat.
Don't forget to throw up the timestamp for when people, if they want to skip our opinions on the MCU.
Don't worry, I'll throw it up there.
Because that's like
An hour.
3/4 of the first video. All right, cool.
So thank you guys for watching. See you all next week. I don't even know what's out next week. Long shot.
Well, I'm watching Long Shot tomorrow. So.
I'll probably see you on later date meet up with you. Tomorrow's day night.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, see whatever the hell comes up after this.
All right.
Godzilla.
Oh yeah, that's right, Godzilla. Can't wait for that.
I want to see
so
Godzilla.
We
All
gotta
right,
see that in IMAX.
Okay.
we're making a trip.
I just want to say for Godzilla, I just hope that there's like a good compromise. 45 minutes of humans and 45 minutes of monsters. That's all I'm really asking for.
Are you going to be more disappointed if there will be more humans or more monsters? Because I just want like
More monsters. I don't give
Yeah.
a shit about humans.
I want-
That's always my problem with Godzilla. It's always like an hour of humans and like 30 minutes of monsters, and I want a good 50-50.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be like 80% monsters, and I'm fine
I hope
with that.
so. I hope so.
So yeah.
I swear to God, if it's like an hour of humans and 30 minutes of monsters, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit.
Okay,
It's
Howard,
not.
we're getting to the point where the class is trying to wrap up, and you keep raising your hand to ask a question to the teacher.
That's it.
And everyone's looking at you like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Then just end the video, bitch.
All right, bye, guys.